Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Deep Dive Explainer. Today we're unpacking the anatomy of an absolute automotive legend, the Nissan Skyline GT-R R32. So to really get why this machine is so special, we gotta rewind to August of 1989. For a massive 16-year hiatus, the legendary GT-R badge had been totally MIA. It was just gone. But when Nissan finally brought the GT-R nameplate back with this R32 generation, oh man, they brought it back with a serious vengeance. We're going to break down the exact engineering innovations and the history that cemented this car as a true mythic icon.
Which actually leads us to a pretty massive question. How did a single car literally break an entire racing championship? Well, to figure that out, you've got to look at its DNA. See, the R32 wasn't just designed to be a fast road car. From day one of its development, it had one singular, ruthless goal: to absolutely dominate Group A touring car racing. Unlike older Skylines, the engineers gave the R32 this highly modern, incredibly aerodynamic body. Literally every single curve, every angle you see on this car was calculated for maximum efficiency and speed on the track. It was, quite simply, a purpose-built weapon.
All right, let's jump into Section 1, Heart of the Beast. At the absolute core of this beast's power is the legendary RB26 DETT. Now, this was a highly advanced 2.6-liter inline-six twin-turbocharged engine that was just pushing major technological boundaries in the early 90s. But look, it wasn't just about throwing two turbos in there. It featured a nearly indestructible cast-iron engine block and individual throttle bodies. That setup let it breathe incredibly well, revs super high, and crank out just massive amounts of forced induction power. This mechanical heart right here, this is what made the R32 a total monster on the streets.
Now, here's where it gets kind of funny. At the time, there was this gentleman's agreement among Japanese automakers. Basically, to avoid a crazy horsepower war, they all pinky swore to officially cap the stated power of their cars at 276 horsepower. But the reality? Yeah, right. In practice, the actual power output of these road-going versions was secretly sitting right around 310 horsepower straight off the showroom floor. It was a total open secret that the car was producing substantially more power than Nissan was officially claiming.
Moving on to Section 2, Intelligent All-Wheel Drive.
So having all that secret power is pretty useless if you can't actually put it down to the pavement, right? Now, most all-wheel drive cars back then felt super heavy and understeered like crazy. But Nissan engineered this brilliant system called ATTESA E-TS, and it was incredibly dynamic. Here's exactly how it works. Under normal conditions, the car stays completely in rear-wheel drive, giving you that snappy, agile sports car feel. But, and this is the genius part, the exact millisecond you hit a tight corner and the system detects traction loss at the rear axle, boom, a multi-plate clutch engages. It automatically and seamlessly redirects up to 50% of the torque straight to the front wheels, physically pulling the car out of the slide. It was this intelligent, sequential reaction to slippage that kept the car perfectly gripped during the most intense cornering imaginable.
But wait, the grip wasn't just coming from the drivetrain. Working alongside that all-wheel drive system, Nissan implemented Super Hike-S. This was a super sophisticated four-wheel steering system. By subtly tweaking the rear wheels to turn in tandem with the front ones, Super Hike-S ensured unbelievable high-speed stability and really precise maneuverability. Honestly, these systems working in perfect harmony created a machine that felt unnaturally agile for its size. Let's look at the results of all that engineering in Section 3, earning the Godzilla nickname.
So what exactly happens when you mix a twin-turbo inline-six with intelligent all-wheel drive and four-wheel steering? You get 29. That number represents 29 consecutive race wins. In the domestic Japanese Touring Car Championship, the JTCC, the R32 didn't just win a lot. It went completely undefeated over 4 whole seasons. I mean, winning every single race you enter in your class over a 4-year stretch, that is a staggering, frankly unbelievable statistic in the world of competitive motorsports.
And hey, that dominance definitely wasn't confined just to Japan. When the R32 hit the Australian Touring Car Championship, the ATCC in 1990, it totally conquered there too. Piloted by some absolute legends, Jim Richards won the Drivers' Championship in 1991, and then Mark Skaife backed it right up by winning the championship in 1992. The car was proving to be a flawless weapon across multiple continents. Actually, it was exactly that total supremacy on Australian tracks that birthed an absolute legend. Back in July of 1989, the Australian publication Wheels coined the moniker Godzilla to describe the GT-R. And, the nickname stuck globally because it just perfectly summarized the car's terrifying technological dominance. It was quite literally a monster from Japan, crushing everything in its path. In fact, its dominance was so absolute, so entirely unbeatable, that in 1993, the ATCC had to literally change their regulations, effectively banning the GT-R from competition just to give other cars a fighting chance.
Which brings us to today, Section 4, the modern collector market.
Okay, so between 1989 and 1994, Nissan pumped out nearly 44,000 standard units of the R32 GT-R, but hiding in there are some seriously rare gems with massive historical significance. See, to satisfy racing rules, Nissan had to build special homologation versions, which are basically road-going versions of their track cars. The most famous of these is the Nismo edition, which was strictly limited to just 560 units. Built right upon the standard model, engineers ruthlessly stripped it down for track performance. They even removed the ABS system purely to save weight. For the modern collector market today, these special versions are the absolute holy grail because they offer the purest, most undiluted link to that era of racing dominance.
And as you'd guessed, that historical pedigree comes with a staggering modern price tag. We're talking $40,000, and honestly, that's just the starting point for standard versions in good condition. Those ultra-rare Nismo homologation examples, they fetch significantly more. A massive driver for this crazy demand is the fact that the R32 was never officially sold in the US market. So the second it finally hit that legal 25-year import age, a massive floodgate of pent-up American demand just popped open and pushed prices straight into the stratosphere.
But beyond the auction values and the racing trophies, I think the R32's ultimate legacy is really what came next. It laid down the exact engineering foundation for the highly revered R33 and R34 generations that followed it. It proved definitively that a turbocharged inline-six paired with smart all-wheel drive was a world-beating formula, a formula Nissan would perfect over the next decade. It was the vital stepping stone that resurrected the GT-R name and made it universally feared and respected.
Which kind of leaves us with one final, provocative thought to ponder. What modern engineering marvel is going to command this same level of mythological reverence 30 years from now? The R32 GT-R was just a perfect storm, right? Boundary-pushing technology, total racing dominance, and incredible cultural mystique. It teaches us that true legends aren't just built. They are engineered with a ruthless purpose and unleashed to